and welcome to another episode of Wise Attraction. It's so good to be here today. I'm actually really excited about today's topic. Today, I'm going to be talking about when is the best time to disclose past indiscretions, health challenges, those things about yourself that you're not really proud of. I'm saying this and I'm smiling like it's something to smile about, but things about yourself that you're not really proud of, things that you don't wear it on your forehead, you can't carry it as a badge of honor, those type of things. When is it best to disclose it within your relationship? Stay tuned, please. Stay for this conversation because it's going to be a very, very interesting one. I mean, when you get into a relationship, it's really, really tricky in the sense that everybody comes with a story. Everybody comes with something about them. Everybody comes with where they've been, except you get into a relationship as a newborn. But if you're an adult and you're an adult person, definitely at some point something would have happened in your life, or it might even be that it's not necessarily an experience. It might be a health issue. Perhaps you have a health situation that you're not happy about or you're not proud of, or that for some people it's a deal breaker. When do you disclose those things in your relationship or in your potential relationship, and how? Not just the when, how do you disclose these things? That's what I'm going to be sharing today. I'd also like to hear your views and your opinions. Please comment, like, share this podcast so that we can really delve into this topic to understand, when should I tell my prospective partner or my partner or my fiance about my past indiscretion or health issues or things that I'm not proud of. So the first question is, should you disclose? Should you disclose things that happened in your past that you're not proud of? And the answer is yes. Now, I understand that there will be a lot of apprehension as to when should I disclose it, or I'm scared this might be a deal breaker. If I tell this other party, we might not even start the relationship. It might end from the word go. But why is it important to disclose those things that you're not proud of to your partner? It's important because, number one, those things, there are certain things that, how long are you going to hide this for? Things might happen in the future to resurrect that past that you're trying to hide. And when it happens and it comes up, how do you then salvage your relationship? And another thing is, the reason why it's very important to disclose things like this upfront is because of the issue of trust. Now, trust is a very fundamental thing when it comes to relationships. All relationships are built on trust. If there's no trust, there's no relationship. So from the beginning of the relationship, you want to start doing things to contribute towards the trust you have in that relationship. You want to start doing things to build the trust, and at the beginning of the relationship, that's the best time, or even before you enter into the relationship with the person, when you know that there's the potential, there's that tendency, or you're moving towards the point of going to a relationship with this person. At that point, you need to start thinking of trust issue. In the first place, you wouldn't even want to go into a relationship with someone you don't trust. You also need to be thinking of, in the future, what can break the trust? What are those things that can serve as, should I say, a barrier or a hindrance within this relationship? Now, all those things you need to consider. And when you consider them, that's why it's really important to then begin to discuss things that that might serve as a barrier between both of you in the relationship. So now I'm dealing with, why should you discuss your past mistakes with your current or intending partner? First reason I said is, these things, they tend to crop up if you don't bring them up, except generally all the things that we do in our lives, there are other people that know. We don't live in isolation. There are other people that know the things that are happening in our lives. So if it's something you don't want to disclose, you need to ensure that every single person that's privy to that information, they also know that the person in your relationship, the person you're dealing with, you're not disclosing this to them, because people slip up. What if the person now has a slip up in front of your partner, and then this divulges the whole story of something that you haven't told them? How is that going to affect your relationship down the line? Also, that thing is going to be in your mind. It's going to be like a barrier in your own heart, in your own mind, to say that, oh, there's some things I'm keeping and I'm hiding from this person. The best type of relationship, is a relationship where trust is being built, and you know and your partner know that both of you number one, both of you know each other, and both of you accept each other for who you are. So when you're hiding things, or the other party is hiding things, you don't know about acceptance. You don't know if that person is going to accept you, and that will be a part of you that you keep hiding. And the thing with hiding is that you keep doing things to cover up, and at the end of the day, it just becomes a huge mess. So the best thing is, share your past indiscretions, share your past mistakes, and let it be that you are the one sharing it. Because you see, the thing is that when you share it yourself, you're in control of the information, and of the information that's going out, number one, and how that information is going out. But then if you leave it past the time where you can easily share, and then it comes out via another means, you can't really control how it's happening. For instance, let's say your partner goes and logs onto your Facebook account, or your Insta account, or any of your social media accounts, and they now find out some information. Somebody messaged you some years ago, something that you haven't told them, or let's say your siblings, or your parents and a sibling, or your best friends are speaking, and they say things that they don't know about you, and they are shocked at that point. You can't really control what's said. You can't really control how it's said. But when you take it upon yourself to share this information, and share it at the right time, or you might not necessarily get the perfect time, but even in the near best time, you're in control of what you say, how you say, and you have a better opportunity to influence the outcome. Now, first thing I want you to know is that when you're going into a relationship, in as much as you might have things that you're not willing to disclose and things you're not proud of, the other party might also be in the same situation. The other party might also have things in their lives that they're not happy to get out there. So that's one thing that is really important to have in mind when going into a relationship. And then you also need to determine for yourself when is the best time to then disclose those things. Personally, I'll say, before you're going to disclose anything about yourself, anything, when I say anything, I don't mean positive. Of course, positive things, you can even take microphone and shout it at the rooftop, but things that you're not proud of, before you disclose anything like that, it's very important to first make sure that you have dealt with those things, and most importantly, make sure that you have accepted your own self fully and wholly. You have to make sure that you're not living in shame of the past, you're not living in guilt of the past, and the past, you're not defining yourself by that past experience. And if it's a health condition, or if it's let's say, I don't know, maybe you've had a previous conviction before, or whatever it is, you have to also be in a place where you're not defining yourself by those things. So that's the first place. Accept yourself. Acceptance starts with you. If you haven't given yourself acceptance, that other part is going to show in how you communicate this to your partner or your intending partner. And that person is also going to struggle to accept it, because if you've not accepted it, you've not dealt with it properly, how do you want them to manage that kind of situation? So firstly, accept yourself, review your situation, go through whatever healing that needs to be gone through, and all of that. And it's important you do those things, because if you don't, it's going to affect your future relationship. So that's the first thing. Secondly, it's very important not to disclose this type of information from the word go. let's say you meet somebody. Personally, I'll advocate friendship. This is my personal opinion. Now, everyone has their own different opinion, but I'll say before getting into a relationship, like proper relationship, committed relationship with someone, I'll say it's always good to pursue friendship first. Get to know the person, because the thing is that in that time of friendship, you're building trust, you're getting to know this person, you're also giving the other person an opportunity to get to know you beyond whatever it is that has happened in your past, and so off the back of that, because you've built trust to a certain extent, that already supports the relationship. It's sort of a good foundation for the relationship to rely on. Now, having said that, I know that there are some singles that are more mature, and they don't have, as in nobody has time. When you're a mature single, you get to a certain age, you don't want to spend your time trying to make friends. You befriend for 6 months, and then after the 6 months, you now say, okay, will I get into a relationship? No, you just want to get, especially if you're someone that you want to get married, you just want to get into the relationship, you just want to get married, and you just want to move on with your life. So if you're in that situation, then it's most likely that your past and things like that, you will, of course, you might not pursue friendship with the person, but as you build your relationship, you need to then pick the right time within that relationship to disclose. And also, not just disclosing, you need to also ask the other party as well, what is it about you? Are there things in your past that you're not proud of? Are there things in your past that you feel can be a deal breaker? Now, I'm going to talk about, there are different times where you discuss different things. If it's a deal breaker, if you know that there's something in your life that is, when people find out about it, they're going to say, they're literally going to just end the relationship. Those types of things, those types of information, you need to deal with them as soon as possible. If it's a health condition, you know that it's going to have implications on the other party, you need to deal with it. In fact, as soon as you guys are, yes, Faith, thank you, you're saying agree. Remember to ask the other person too. It's important to ask the other person about their own past and their own history. But if you know it's a deal breaker, once both of you are in a place where you both want to be in a relationship together, at that point, you need to discuss deal breakers, and you need to also ask the other party about their own deal breakers. What's going on with you? Is there anything in your health? Is there anything I should know? Those type of things, you need to make sure that you ask them early enough, especially when it comes to health issues. When it could be that the person has been married before, it could be that they have kids. Again, these things, it doesn't mean that once you hear or once you disclose, the relationship is going to end. No, it just means that you then have the opportunity to reflect, and you also give the other party the opportunity to reflect and review these things and decide whether it's something that they can handle in the future. And I know that it's a bit scary, because you'll be like, oh, I've been praying to God, or I've been wanting to be my partner, I've been wanting to get married, I've been wanting to all whatnot since, and right now I've met this person. If I share this information with this person is going to leave me and they're going to run off. It's better if the person cannot handle it. Is actually better that from the beginning, or from a good stage, I'm talking about deal breakers now, the ones that that when somebody is likely to make or break the relationship. Because you see, the thing is that if you don't disclose it early enough, it might not break the relationship then, but in the future, it's going to break the relationship, and the hurt, the pain, the trauma, the result of that is going to be more painful for both of you. What if you guys are married by the time this whole thing comes up? What if you now have children together by the time this whole thing comes up? What if your lives are so mingled that by the time there's a split because the other party cannot handle what you've disclosed, that it now becomes so horrible? Not just yourself is impacted, but also your children are impacted negatively. So these things, you want to really discuss them early enough, know what the deal breakers are, share what the deal breakers are, and also hear from the other party, give the other party to speak and talk about what their own deal breakers are. And then from there, whatever happens. I'm going to discuss later what can happen and how to deal with whatever the results of it. But before I get onto that, I also want to talk about, so let's say things that are not deal breakers. So for instance, let's say you've had relationships in the past, multiple sexual partners. These types of things, for a lot of people, they will not be deal breakers so much as a health condition or so much as a conviction. Let's say someone that has gone to prison before, or someone that has been on drugs before, or something. I don't know. Yeah. So things that you know that they're not necessarily a deal breaker for everybody, but it's something that the other party might not be comfortable with. The thing is, you need to, first of all, get to know the other party. Give the other party the opportunity to know you beyond whatever that negative storyline is. And after you've gotten, let's say you've gone on 2 or 3 outings, this is when the relationship has started proper. Let's say you've gone on 2 or 3 outings, or let's say give it 3 months. 3 months is even a long time, because some people actually get married in the space of 6 months, you know. Let's say you give it 1 month, or yeah, round about 1 month, or how after you've gone on 2 or 3 dates. And then you say to the person, or at the beginning, you can also tell the person that, okay, we're entering into this relationship. I know that there might be things in our past that we are both not proud of, or possibly things in our present now that we will find that they're not things that we like to share or will share easily. I'd like us to discuss these things, but I don't want us to discuss these things now. Let us get to know each other for some time. Let's say a month, or let's go on 2 or 3 outings. And then after that, I would like for us to discuss these things. The reason why I'm saying give it this space of time is that you have to know that for both of you, your lives, the entirety of who you are, is not defined by whatever experience, whatever negative experience or mistake or indiscretion or health situation or circumstance is. You both have to know that your lives are not defined by it. That's why it's good to give yourselves time to get to know each other. But upfront, if it's not something that you know that is going to be such a deal breaker, it's always good to upfront have that conversation to say, I would like for us to talk about things that we're not proud of in our lives, but let's get to know ourselves a bit more, and then we'll talk about it. You know, when myself and my husband, we met, this is the conversation that we had. It was my husband that brought it up. He said, I know that there might things that we're not proud of in our lives. We're going to talk about it. Not now, but there will come a time we'll talk about it. And he did mention it when, at this time, we're not even in a relationship. We were still friends, but he had told me that he would like to be in a relationship with me. So we both knew that we liked each other and we're going to be in a relationship eventually. But at this point, we're not in a relationship when he made these statements, when he told me that we're going to have to talk about these things. And literally after, I think it was, I can't remember how long after them, but after some time, once we met up, he actually said, okay, this is a good time for us to discuss this. And he began to ask me questions, and I also asked him questions, you know. And in that conversation, we got to know things about ourselves. You know, when you're having this conversation, you get to know more about the other party, and the other party also give the other party an opportunity to get to know more about you. But the thing is that you can't control the other party's response. And even you yourself, you might find that this person will tell you some things that you'll be so shocked about, you know, and also you might also shock the other party. So when having this type of conversations, you need to be open-minded to know that the other person might not be able to handle it. And also the other person might not be able to handle it then, but it doesn't mean that when they go home or when they take some time and when they process whatever has been said, it doesn't mean that still they'll be like, oh no, I can't have you, you know. They might, at that point, they might be so shocked and all of that, but then with time, they might think about it, and then because you spent a bit of time getting to know each other before disclosing this type of information, they can also compare what you've told them with what they've learned about you by relating with you. And when they compare those two, they can decide which one is strong enough to pull them. Do you understand? So getting to know you and know your personality and understand you and all of that, is it enough to keep them in the relationship? What they found out about you by their own personal interaction with you, is it strong enough to keep them in the relationship? Or is this past or this indiscretion or this health issue or whatever it is it so strong that they're not able to look past it to see you for who you are? Now, if the person decides that, oh, this thing that you've told me is just too much for me, I can't handle it, so I can't progress with this relationship. If they say that, it's gonna be, it's really is a very, very painful situation, but you have to let them go. So as sad as it is and as painful as it is, you have to let them go, because acceptance, when someone accepts you in a relationship, it gives you a certain level of confidence to continue to be who you are, to express yourself, and it brings deeper meaning to that relationship. But say, for instance, they say, oh, this thing is too much for me to handle. Let's say you disclose, I don't know, you have 2 children. Let's say you have one party has 2 children, and the other person is like, this is too much for me to handle, I cannot deal with this. And they decide to, but then you say, no, I really love you, I really want this relationship, I want us to carry on together. And then you go and then you put pressure on the person, and the person now decides that, okay, actually, I feel like he or she has changed, I would like to stay on. The problem with that is that, what if the person keeps bringing up the past? What if every single thing you do, the person links it to something that happened before? Or what if it's a health condition and they start looking at you funny, or they start acting funny around you, or they're doing things that make you feel more conscious about that health condition? Would you be happy in that relationship? Would you be at peace in that relationship? So this is the thing. Sometimes you need to ask yourself, if I carry on staying in this relationship with this person, or if I impress upon this person to stay with me, even if I know that they are not comfortable with what I've told them, or it's what I've told them is such a big deal or a big issue, if I press them, what type of relationship would I then be in? Will I be happy in that relationship? Will the other party be happy in that relationship? You can even tell the person will say, okay, let's carry on. And then they'll use it to blackmail you. In fact, when somebody accepts you with your past, you still need to have your eyes open. Because the thing is that, if you need to make sure that the person is fully accepting you for who you are, and the person is not accepting you knowing this thing about you to use it as a source of manipulation. Because people that are controlling, people that are abusive, they will take on this information and then they'll begin to use it to control you. They'll begin to use it to make you feel like, oh, I'm doing you a favor by being in this relationship with you, so you better do this, you better shape up. Every little thing, they are on your case. They can become possessive, become controlling through this information that you've shared. You also don't want to be in that situation. If you share this information, whenever you become vulnerable to anybody, observe them. You need to observe them. You need to be on your guard to know how they are really receiving what you've shared with them, and to ensure that they're not using it as a tool against you to become a stronghold against you in the future or in the current relationship, and so you ensure that that's the case. And if that's the case, that they're using it as a tool against you, you know that you also don't want to be in that type of relationship. You want to protect yourself. You want to protect your mind. You don't want to go and create another past situation with this person that you now have to tell another person in the future that, oh, in another past, I shared it with this person. They use it against me. I entered into an abusive relationship. No, you don't want a cycle to continue. So if you share with the person, you observe the person, and the person is now using it as a tool against you, you want to leave that relationship. On the other hand, if you share it with the person and you see that the person has accepted you for who you are, and it's just like our relationship with Jesus Christ. When someone becomes saved and give their lives to Christ, what we do is that we recognize that we're sinners. We recognize that we've done something, we've gone contrary to God's will, we ask him for forgiveness. And the Bible says that as far as the east is from the west, so have I separated your sin from you. He says that it's in the sea of forgetfulness. He does not remember it. He does not call it up. When you do something today, he will not call it up and say, Bibi, this is how you committed sin 20 years ago. You asked me to forgive you, I forgive you. Now you want to commit that sin again, right? You want to commit that sin again. No, God doesn't do that. And we also have to be conscious that the marriage relationship reflects our relationship with Christ. It reflects our relationship with God. And the Bible says that the man is the head. The Bible says the man is the head of the home. And it says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. The way that Christ loved the church is that Christ does not hold the sin of the church against the church after the church has confessed their sin. So that's one thing you have to have in mind. After you've confessed and you've told this person, are they letting it go? Are they forgetting? Not necessarily forgetting as if they have amnesia, but are they at peace with it, understanding that this is something that is not currently affecting you at the moment, or are they still holding it over you? So the kind of situation that you want to carry on in is if they treat you the way Christ treated the church. Now, let me give you an example. So if they're not treating you the way, sorry, I've lost my train of thoughts. Yeah, I was going to say, you want to make sure that they're treating you the way Christ treats the church. And why this is very important is that in a marriage relationship, this is also how you test if you're a woman wanting to know if the person you're with is your husband. When you disclose things that are unpleasant about yourself, does he carry on loving you, or does he begin to judge you, and does he begin to use it against you? If he's judging you and he's using it against you, that's not something, I believe that's not something that you're going to be able to sustain all the days of your life if you carry on and marry this person. But if he's someone that he forgives you, he lets it go, he reaffirms you, and he helps you understand that whatever it is that is in your past does not define you in the present. If that's the situation, then yes, you carry on with the relationship. Now, the flip side of it is when the other party, let's say whether it's a man or a woman, tells you something that you cannot deal with, that you yourself cannot handle, because like I said, it's both ways. It's not a one-way thing. When they tell you something that you cannot deal with, you cannot handle, what do? If it's something that you know that you just can't let it go. I've been in that situation before where I met someone and we were talking and things like that, and then the person then began to disclose things about their lives, and personally I just felt like I can handle up to there are certain things that I cannot handle. And so I had to take a step back from that situation. You also need to give yourself the privilege and the right to also make your own decisions. And if you need to step back because something the person has told you you're not able to handle, you also need to have the freedom to step back. Because you see, the thing is that in as much as you want that other party to accept you and to love you fully, you also need to give the same. Relationships are give and take. You cannot expect what you cannot give, and you cannot expect to give what you do not have. And if you do not have it to give, you should not expect it from the other party. So even within yourself, it's either you're fully accepting that person, letting go of the past. Remember, the thing is that you were not even there when those things in their lives happened. If it's a past indiscretion, you were not there. So it's not that they actually did. Anyway, if you guys are getting married, then probably you can say that, oh, you sinned against your future husband. I don't know, maybe you offended, even if you were not married and you knew you would get married, so you shouldn't have done this and all of that. But the thing is that you were not there in their lives. They were in whatever circumstance that they were in, and the things that have happened. So you also need to be able to accept the person. And if you find that is something that you cannot accept, you cannot move forward from, then also you need to take a step back and call it quits. I mean, I remember once when I was much younger, I had a conversation with someone, and he was telling me that this lady married a man that had a health condition that was infectious. He didn't share it with this lady. They got married, and this person I was speaking to was now saying to me that will they divorce? They cannot divorce because the Bible says they should not. God hates divorce and things like that. And for me, for the life of me, I couldn't understand what he was saying, because in the first place, whatever foundation, whatever trust that she would have had or they would have had in this relationship has been broken. How do you get off telling someone like that that you have to stay in that relationship, knowing fully well that it's not even just about the trust? You might contract the disease, you know, if you have children, your children might contract the disease and all of this. How do you then deal with that type of situation? So it's very important, before you enter into a relationship, or when you're entering into a relationship, have it in your mind that you have a past and the other party also has a past, and both of you might have things that are unpleasant about yourselves that might be difficult to share. Create space as you interact for both of you to have that conversation. It can start with an initial conversation of, I know that we both have histories that we need to talk about. We should create a time in the future to talk about this after we've gotten to know ourselves to an extent. So both of you have it at the back of your mind that at some point you have this conversation, and then make sure that you guys actually do the diligence to have this conversation, so that things are clear, things are in the air, and you both are on the same page. Now, I'm conscious that there might be people listening that you've gone really far in your relationship, and there are things that you've not shared that you feel like if you share, it's going to be a deal breaker. You've come so far, you don't want to lose this, you don't want to lose that. What I'll say to you is that nothing is hidden under the sun. If you don't share it, someone else might share it. If someone else doesn't share it, they might come to find out through one means or the other. And then when they find out and it's not from you, and you're not able to be in control of that conversation or that revelation, what do you then do? How will you handle that situation? How will you salvage the relationship? Where do you go from there? If you're in a relationship, you've already come, let's say you're planning to get married or you're already married, and there are things that need to be shared. You need to apply wisdom. Don't just come off the boat and just fling these weights, because this type of information, sometimes it can be weight because you're dealing with someone that loves you. Don't just come from nowhere and put this weight on this person and expect that they will just take it on or accept you like that. You need to give it a lot of thought. You need to give it a lot of planning. You need to pray, and you need to prepare, before having the conversation. And also, when you have that conversation, you need to give the other party room to react, to express themselves, and to come to terms with what you have said to them. At the end of the day, it's scary, but honesty is always the best. If you want to build a deep, intimate, meaningful, and beautiful relationship, honesty is important, and acceptance is one of the things that honesty breeds. Honesty can breed. I know that the fear of rejection is something that prevents people from sharing, but if you move past the fear of rejection and share your story with your partner, you might find a deeper level of acceptance that will make all the difference in your own life as an individual and in your relationship. So that's just what I wanted to share today. Thank you very much for watching. Faith, I can see your comments. Honestly, honesty is a strong foundation for relationships. Yes, honesty is a very, very important foundation. At the end of the day, trust is where every relationship starts from. Honesty helps build trust. Dishonesty kills the trust. And then what do you have left if you don't have trust in your relationship? So that's it for today. Thanks to everyone for joining in. Please like this video. Please share and also subscribe. Janobidi, I see you. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Alerichi, for your comments. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Please subscribe to Wise Attraction on YouTube. Please like and share this video if you found it helpful or you know someone that will find it helpful. Till next time, do have a lovely weekend ahead. Bye.